Hello, and welcome back to Therapist Plays Doki Doki Literature Club Side Story Edition, where I feel very safe, you all, playing this game, because I know the trauma time is over, and really the most we have to contend with is a little bit of sad core, like just a little bit of sad vibes. And, well, trauma work gets the main stage, you know, in like the therapeutic discussion, and honestly, that's usually what people have to recommend for the channel. They're like, Brady, you should play this game. It's like so fucked up. Such horrible things happen to these characters. I need you to talk about this. I need to watch you experience it. Which is kind of how we ended up with this game to begin with. But, you know, the thing that never really gets quite as much showtime is just the sad vibes of everyday life. The common struggles with self-esteem, perfectionism, relationships. And these things are just as worthy of our time and investigation as the big stuff, because hopefully the substance of most of your life is the small kinds of issues. So that's why I'm enjoying this little addendum to the series so very much so far. So let's hop back in, shall we? Trust Part 2. Another day passes in a flash, and it's already time for the next club meeting. Although Monica should have come up with a plan for today's club tasks, she hasn't been able to shake her guilt and anxiety after reading Sayori's poem. I'm so stupid. How did I let myself be the center of attention? Sayori's going through these kinds of feelings, and I'm letting her comfort me instead of the other way around. This is such a change from the Monica that we know so far. And already I want to say, hey there, Monica, wait a second. I don't think it's fair to call yourself stupid. That implies that you already knew better, that you knew Sayori was in this predicament and you chose to ignore it instead. Because stupidity is about competence. Don't think it's so much about perception. Because now that you have seen it, taking an interest. What kind of club president does that? A human one, Monica. Oh, I just want to, like, squeeze the anxiety out of these precious souls. This whole time, I didn't think to ask about her own feelings. So much for stupid vision. Sayori enters the club room with her usual smile. But upon seeing the downcast Monica, her smile quickly fades into an expression of concern. Monica, is everything okay? I'm really sorry. Such a terrible friend. Huh? What are you talking about? You're an amazing friend. Monica shakes her head. I made this all about myself. Even you said so yesterday. You told me that I'm trying to make the club that I need the most, right? But my problems are so trivial compared to yours. Well, I don't know if that was the way to bring up the subject. Basically just telling her, you've got real problems, Sayori. Sayori responds quietly. What are you talking about? But as she says that, face darkens. Through the silence, Sayori mutters her realization. I left my folder here. Monica stares blankly ahead, unable to come up with a response. I wasn't ready to share those. Now you're worrying about me. I don't want that. But why? We're friends, right? Wordlessly, Sayori nods. Friends look out for each other. I want to be here for you as much as you're here for me. And, you know, in my, like, who has the best and worst mental health video, I did identify Monica as having the most psychological flexibility, mainly down to values, mainly because under the strain of derealization of her existence and all of the actions that she did to compensate, it was the center of her values that allowed her to turn things around and make it right. And that, I think, was the thing that cut through for me, even in the main game where we see a very different side to Monica, because like right here, we're seeing it. She's always had good values of friendship, of caring, of wanting to do well, and that's even overtuned at the expense of her own health sometimes. But this right here, like, that's a rule that she follows, like being there for people. And it's so ingrained in like whether she allows herself to be a leader is caring about other people. The events of the main game challenge those values, challenge their worth to her, but ultimately they won out. And so far, you know, the theory still stands to me that one of the things that's most striking about Monica, despite any of her other flaws, is that she has very good, clear values in herself. How she attends to them, I think, is more of a challenge, because she has these good values and they allow her to identify clearly ways that she wants to be better, but it causes her so much angst. And so I think working with her would, you know, lend naturally to, you've got a great starting point here, which is really good values, innate beliefs about how you should be. And even when you think you're not succeeding at them, like now, I'm not being a good club president, she's still acting with committed action, which is that whole part of psychological flexibility, that having good values and aiming yourself towards them and committing with action that aligns with those values is the goal. The goal is not to always be perfect all the time and, you know, get the value and achieve it as a sort of accomplishment, because that's never going to be as concrete as just living by it. What she's doing right now is being a good leader and setting a good example. Another long moment passes in silence. Would she be convinced by this? That I don't know. Would Monica be hesitant to accept the interpretation I'm offering, that already what she's doing is quite enough, and let's focus on not beating yourself up too much because of this? I don't know. That might be difficult, because as a perfectionist, as most perfectionists, that kind of intervention starts to feel like I'm taking away, or I want to take away, their deterministic spirit. Because beating herself up is how she maintains a perfectionistic mindset. It's so tied in with like performing well as giving herself hard critique. And I just don't think it's necessary. You can have ambition without leveraging guilt towards yourself for not achieving things. You can learn to iterate and focus on the fine details and even perfect things without adding the addition of psychological pressure and urgency on top, that if you don't accomplish this, it's like a complete failure. So you can maintain these positive traits and work on reducing the negative consequences on your self-perception. You can have it all, Monica. But it would be a little bit difficult, I think, at first. The air is incredibly heavy. This is different. It wasn't just about you yesterday. It was about the club. Besides, that's my vice president. I love how her portrait got bigger because she's making a stand here. Besides, things were so happy yesterday. You don't need to do this all of a sudden. That's right. That's my cinnamon roll. She has such a clarity when it comes to other people. Can you see this in yourself, girl, please? Before it's too late. I don't want it. I like happy. So if you do this, then you're just being so... That's kind of similar to the anime Brady line that lots of people didn't like, that I did. When we were talking to her in her bedroom, and we said, I don't know exactly what we said, but we said something similar. It was a direct call out to Sayori about a similar thing, like that it was selfish of her to always assume no one cares about her, or that her happiness is secondary. I don't exactly remember. And I had said that I think it's bold to say that to someone, because there's a belief that I can confront you with this And I trust that our relationship will survive this confrontation, to say something honest. This isn't an insult. She's not trying to make her feel bad. She's trying to make her recognize in a more direct way, which Sayori almost never does. So this is kind of incredible for her. That this isn't all about her, and it's not entirely up to her to make everything perfect. Basically, get over yourself, girl. We're friends, and it's all fine. Monica massages her forehead, struggling through the frustration of such a paradox. It's understandable that Sayori isn't ready to share certain things, but as unfair as it is for Monica to pry, it's also painful for Monica to force herself to ignore the needs of her friend. This is interesting. This, like, we never get this. This is like straight up narration, which was normally filled by the fumbless, tumbless musings of Anime Brady, who had to parse what he was seeing in often his sort of caveman ways. Is Monica feeling upset right now? I kind of miss that. Actually, really miss it. It grew on me over time. But this is just straight up, like, narrative prescription of what's happening, which is kind of interesting. I guess you need something like that without the protagonist. It is quite the paradox, though, because she does know now. How could you not say something? Sorry I looked. I disrespected your privacy. No, I don't blame you for looking. You would have at least needed to check if it was mine. Yeah, I just love like a dispute. It's not even an argument, but maybe it's not even a dispute. It's just a conversation, a tense conversation between two anxious but mature people who respect one another but have some sort of issue to work out. This is lovely. Monica takes a deep breath. Okay. I understand that you don't want me to worry. And I think I'll be able to put this aside so that we can move on. But can you promise me something? Promise you what? Monica pauses to collect her thoughts. There's a lot of pausing. It's using some different narrative devices in the side stories, which I think is interesting. It's also, while we were getting the narration, the two girls disappeared as almost like a scene break. This is more literary. This is the Literature Club. It's a place where people can express themselves in the way that life normally doesn't allow them to. Is this little conflict going to give her the vision statement? Oh my god, I hope it does. That's the vision. In fact, it's our vision. Right the way into your heart. Or whatever. So, I just want you to promise me that you'll remember that too. Doesn't have to be right now, but I want to be here for you when you need it. I want us to be ourselves like that. Sayori smiles gently. This makes the main game so much more tragic. To know that, like, this was all in Monica's head and in her history with Sayori. That I think it was all she could tell herself is, well, she's not real, then nothing matters. Because it's so painful to imagine that she is real. Ugh. It's beautiful. And it's sad. Well, folks, it's bittersweet. Sayori's favorite word. And you know what? I think it is mine as well. It's such a beautiful word. Sayori smiles gently. I'll promise if you promise. Unable to help it, Monica returns Sayori's smile. Promise. Me too. As the conversation closes, the mood in the room is lifted. With that behind them, it's time to proceed with the club activities. So, want to teach me about poetry? Huh? But what about recruitment? It's fine. We have plenty of time for that. But right now, I feel like I want to do this. I mean, I do have to fulfill my end of the promise, you know? There's no way I could say no to that. So Monica really hasn't written any poetry then at this point. So she's gonna learn from Sayori how to do it. Just don't expect much. Girl, we know you're a fucking master at this already. I do a lot of writing, but it's not like I'm a scholar or anything. Nonsense. That's fine. I think I just need, like, some motivation. I never know where to start when it comes to writing poems. Starting isn't so hard. You kind of just need to write down your feelings and see where it takes you. Yeah, but that wouldn't come out any good. It's not supposed to. You're gonna have to fight your perfectionist mind on this one. Oh my gosh, she really is the perfect antidote to Monika's issues. In a way, I think Sayori's struggles with her own personal value sort of allows her to be a little more carefree with this kind of thing. Like, Sayori's issues are whether she has value to other people. And I think that makes it, like, kind of easy to forgive her own mistakes, in a sense. Bypasses any perfectionistic instincts to just sort of write what comes to mind. Whereas Monica, she is concerned about what people think to her, but I don't know if she derives her value from others so much as, like, she wants to feel that she has value to herself. She struggles more with that. And so you get the perfectionism, which becomes a barrier to starting to create things. You can just start by writing your feelings and see what kinds of things it makes you think of. And then you can turn your feelings into a little story. I just love the way that she puts things. You can get your feelings down first, and then make it sound pretty later. It's not like building a railroad where you go from one end to the other. It's more like a collage, where you find all the things you want to put in, and then you arrange them in a pretty way. At least, that's how I do it. It's not like it's the only way. It's a really good way to not get stuck right at the beginning. I understand. Yeah. I always get so caught up in how it sounds that I forget about what's actually important. Monica pulls out a pen and paper to start writing on. Stop being a perfectionist. You idiot. I'm just kidding. Monica scribbles out, "You idiot," after she writes it down. Oh, look at that smile. It's rare that I've seen Monica smile that I also don't sort of receive it with sinister intent. My tip for writing, Brady's writing tip of the day, as someone who has tried many different creative outlets. When I was a kid, I tried out visual arts, drawing and painting and stuff, and I never really developed a sincere passion in that. I like it. If I spend a lot of time on it, I think I can do pretty well. I did play a couple of instruments, piano, and then eventually percussion with a small stint of clarinet. Mostly percussion, though. I played in like a percussion-specific ensemble, so I played the drum kit, but also sometimes the marimba, timpani, all kinds of stuff. But that was sort of like, going up through my school years. What I first got into as my first own creative pursuit was writing music. And if you've been following my channel, you've probably heard little bits of my music. For example, during my cat birthday videos, I put some of my own tracks. And if you go back through, I think the Disco Elysium series, there's a couple of times where I use my own music as the introduction and ending pieces, and the starting soon music for my streams. So I worked on music composition for some years, but I kind of reached a plateau when I was in college where I sort of felt like I reached a point that I was satisfied with, and then I lost motivation really to do more. It's only come back into interest for me as a result of working on this channel and thinking that would be a nice part of some of the content is having some music that's from me. And so I do want to do a little bit more of that as time goes on. But it was at that point I kind of dropped music and I picked up writing. And I've talked a little bit about this before, but I am very interested in writing fiction. I wrote a science fiction novel. Similar story though. Once I finished it, life happened and I was going to return to it for a second draft and that sort of thing. And things just kind of got away from me. And then I ended up sort of picking other multimedia stuff up, like streaming, recording, and sort of here we are some years later. So I've tried these different aspects, and I like little bits of all of them. But the thing that has always maintained for me when I'm struggling with motivation, or I don't know what to write about, or I don't know how to get a creative idea out is, and this is so simple. I'm not going to say anything profound. This is not anything anyone doesn't already know. It's more something that's easy to forget, which is that whatever you are going through right now is the story. Like if you're sitting there and you don't know what to write about because there's no big sort of problematic event in your life or whatever, then use the uncertainty and fear of not being able to say something meaningful, without too much lived experience as the conflict, like whatever conflict you're currently living through, because you like barely need to really come up with material then. Every time I have like tried to insert a theme or a conflict into a story or a project that is unrelated to what I'm currently living through, and it doesn't have to be like one-to-one, but even just partially, could be something you've lived through in the past. Anytime I've tried to bring that in, like I feel like I have to do a lot of structural assembly to an idea, and it feels a little artificial for me. But whenever I've just been like, okay, like what am I feeling right now? That's why I like Sayori so much. What am I going through? Well, the theme feels so accessible then, and it helps drive the material. For example, the poem that I wrote for this series, The Rule, that was very much about like what I was experiencing and continue to experience, which is like trying to balance my working schedule with like YouTube content and my own kind of perfectionism to perform well and to put my own needs secondary to like, those of either clients or the community, or like there was a lot of themes to it. And the main idea was overcoming what has typically been my approach, which is basically neglecting self-care and balance in favor of, making progress and doing well and achieving good results. This was a time where the channel was really blowing up because of this very series, but there was a cost to my like personal bandwidth because I just was working really hard at it. And so it was this kind of realization of you can only optimize your life so much to the point that it starts to become impersonal. And there are some things, some rules in life that I need that are not always productive or help me achieve things more quickly or to a higher standard. Like they're things that help me find balance though, both practically and emotionally. And it's okay to have them, even if they slow me down. And so can I welcome those things back into my life? That was just what I was experiencing. And so the writing of that poem came very easily. I wrote it just in the evening before the video went up. It probably didn't take more than like an hour or so to just kind of write it down, do a little bit of editing. And so that's always been my process. Like, what am I living through? What is the act of conflict? What do I think about it? What do I feel about it? And then there's aspects of trying to bridge that thematically with whatever else. I don't write poetry. I've never written a poem before. So, I just figured why not do one, because this game is about poems. But same with any of the sort of meta editing stuff that I've done at the ends of series. I try to take a little bit of whatever the theme of the game is, and then like, what have I lived through that's relevant? Sometimes it's what I'm actively going through. Sometimes it's in the past. But in a sense, I feel like it's hard to invent or to attach something meaningful to a creation for me without some lived experience. And I have always sort of taken that in relation to the phrase, write what you know. I don't think that means you need to literally only write about things that you've experienced. Like, I should only write stories about therapists. No. What sort of themes of life and experiences have I had, and can they be related to things that I don't know? So I can write a science fiction novel that's not about therapists in space, but I can take many of the learnings from therapy and whatever else and infuse them with that. And so this is always my advice, my writing tip for anyone who ever asks. I have friends who are like working on making their own YouTube projects and things like that. And they will sometimes say like, I really have a good intuition for creativity and I want to make these videos, but I don't know what to talk about. And I'm like, okay, well, what's going on in your life? If nothing else, the conflict you're having is I have this good creative intuition, but I can't come up with a way to capitalize on that. Does that create tension for you? That sort of conflict, like that you have this energy and you don't know how to use it? Yeah. There's your story. There's your video, there's whatever. Like there's an aspect of that. Having, but not being able to use that creative spirit. Like that's a conflict and you could translate that to whatever you want. The less you need to draw on things that are not relevant to your current psychological landscape, the better, because it really does come easy once you sort of know to let that point you in the right direction. And I kind of feel like that's what Monica's doing right here. Her poems were very much this. She was living through the crisis of discovering everything that's going on in the game. And so her poems were save me, load me. And I think they also captured very well this sort of perfectionistic ideals. Because she was in an unsolvable situation and she's someone who depends on being able to solve things. No, keep it. Sayori screams. And I hope she sort of encourages her to this point as well. What? Why? Are you calling me an idiot? Of course not. But the point is, you're not supposed to police your feelings, right? Be as dramatic as you want. But I was just, well, yeah. Underneath the scribble, Monica rewrites, "You idiot." She stares at the paper. Her words stare back at her. It's kind of funny how I wrote down what I'm mad at myself for, and then I did that exact thing anyway. Oh, it's so true. This is really a perfect encapsulation of her. This is really going to take some getting used to. I believe in you. Thanks. I do too. Me, I mean. But also you, of course. Monica continues the exercise, jotting down her thoughts. It's surprisingly quite a struggle to write without overthinking it. That's okay, you've got Sayori with you. And she's going to help you break through these barriers, Monica. But after a while, with Sayori's guidance and encouragement, Monica's sheet of paper begins to look fairly lively, peppered with all of her random thoughts. Monica looks up and down at her sheet. Gosh, I feel so tense looking at this. I hate it. But it's also kind of liberating. I can tell how hard you're trying. It makes me happy. I think you'll be good at writing poems. Don't give me too much credit. I'd have to try really, really hard at it. But I think it's something I'll enjoy doing. With you. Oh my goodness, it's so lovely. Can we just stay here forever? In friendship land? Sayori beams. I'll stop here, but we still have time. Let's try to work on a new flyer for the club. I won't be so picky about the language. Yay! Let's do it! Monica and Sayori proceed with their work. With each passing day, the two of them become more confident in the club. Not simply from their recruitment planning, but from their vision as well. As their bond strengthens, so does the essence of the literature club. Finally, they begin to truly feel it's only a matter of time before they find new members. Another day passes. As usual, Monica's the first one to the club room. With her is a printout of the revised Literature Club flyer, complete with the all-new ideas Monica and Sayori came up with. If only this was the flyer we gave to that one reading girl the other day. Yes, as we know, Monica, you'll never see her again. You'll never get another chance. It's so much more attractive than the old one, but the new catchphrase is featured clearly in the center of the flyer. God, do I know this feeling as well, as a person who has now been on YouTube for 4 years, let's say. A little bit of time streaming before uploading on YouTube, but generally I would consider the channel about 4 years old. Boy, is it difficult to look at old content. even just the content that's been uploaded in the last 2 years, sometimes I'm looking at it and I'm like, I even wrote on some video like yesterday, because whenever I get a comment on a video, it pops up in my like YouTube Studio app. So if people are watching old content, and sometimes random shit will just get picked up by the algorithm, like an old Disco Elysium video. And so like if someone comments on it, I'm like, oh, what video is this? I click on it, and then I got some like ridiculous looking hairstyle. I look greasy and like unshaven, and I'm just saying like the dumbest shit, and I'm just talking, I don't know, about nonsense, or like overly analytical or technical with certain things. It's so easy to like get into that mindset of like, you know, old thing bad, new thing good. But I don't resent it in any way. Like, I think that the Disco Elysium series especially, it is a story of me maturing. At least that's kind of how I see it. From, well, I think at the start of that game, at that point in my channel and creative life, like quite arrogant, defensive. You know, I fought a lot with the audience and was really hesitant to like change my perspective about certain things, like talking about politics and certain other stuff. And that game, but also the community's progression with me through that series, I think tells a story of, you know, starting to expand my perspective a little bit, you know, realize that I don't fucking know everything, and so I shouldn't act like I do. And I've spoken about this before, but I think what I understood as confidence just came off as arrogance. I should just say what I think and, you know, be stubborn about it. And I don't know. I feel a little differently about confidence now. It doesn't require so much intensity and rigidity. But in fact, the more secure I am with something, the less I need to be emphatic about it, in a sense. Whereas I used to think it needed, you know, the more confident I was about it, the harder I needed to demonstrate that. And I just feel so differently. But yeah, it's a interesting thing to reflect on old work. I do relate a lot to Monica. It's why I appreciate her so much as a character. As someone who has similar perfectionistic tendencies, but also like struggles with this, I want to have good values, but how can I live up to them, in a sense? A lot of internalized, self-imposed pressure. Write the way into your heart. Surely, common sense would say that one writes from the heart, not into the heart. But the message being delivered is that one can use writing to discover themselves. Hopefully, Monica and Sayuri had thought that it would be enough to garner some curiosity from students. Why do I feel so tense looking at this? Monica thinks back to the previous meeting, when she performed the writing exercise. Was I always this bad at expressing myself? How am I supposed to be president if I can't even demonstrate what the club is supposed to be about? The literature club is truly beginning to take form. But with that, the weight on Monica's shoulders only becomes heavier. Debate club was always about rigid structure, formulating airtight points and counterpoints, and delivering them with conviction. It was about the person on the outside. That's why Monica was so good at it. It existed entirely within her realm of comfort. It's suffocating. Yeah, without the protagonist, this is written so much more like a narrative, like these moments of interpretation between dialogue. I need to break through this mental wall. I need to learn to express myself for real. Monica pulls out a sheet of paper and grabs her pen. She presses the tip of the pen firmly against the paper. But her hand doesn't move. Instead, a tiny blot of ink collects around the tip of her pen. Wait a second. This was her first writing tip, wasn't it? It was related to this, about how to avoid this very thing. Monica lifts her pen and stares at the little blotch. For some reason, She feels compelled to run her finger across it. As she does so, the black ink smears across the paper, ruining Monica's canvas. Out of spite for herself, Monica presses her pen down once again, letting the ink collect. She creates a second smear on the paper. Come on, Monica. Just move your hand. Monica writes. This is what I get for seeking perfection. A stain. Okay. Yeah. That's exactly right. This is a poem. This is a whole storyline, and it evokes something. Experiment with the medium. Ugh, I actually love this. Monica slides the paper away from her and puts her head down on the desk. Oh, Monica, you'll realize the brilliance of this later. The air conditioner seems louder today. I'm here. Hi. Monica hears Sayori approach her desk, then stop for a second, probably reading the piece of paper. Then she sits down in the adjacent desk. Bad day? Mm-hmm. Me too. No! Why? You too? The new flyer looks so good. You've been working so hard on the club, but also something else, I think. I can't do it. I'm sorry. It's so hard to just be vulnerable. Sayori takes the sheet of paper from Monica's desk. She writes something down, then stares at it for a while. Can I trust you? Of course. You can trust me with anything. Sayori gazes at Monica with sadness in her eyes. No! Understanding the signal, Monica takes the paper from Sayori's desk and reads it. Sometimes I want to die. Oh. This is, of course, heartbreaking, but also, we never got this clear of a message from Sayori in the main game. Maybe she didn't feel like she could trust anyone with what was really going on. I mean, she withdrew more often than not when it came to talking about what she was going through, or it was so layered into seemingly happy poems. And so it's very encouraging, I think, that Sayori has someone in Monica that she feels she can say this to. If nothing else, it says that she sometimes has this idea, but she knows that it's not the right answer necessarily. It's something that comes up for her when she thinks about an escape to what she's going through, but it's not all the time, and she's willing to let someone know enough to believe that perhaps there's a different way. Sayori, this is really, really hard for me. Voice shakes. So if I can do it, then you can too. Because you're like a million times better than me. That's completely not true. Sayori takes a deep breath, trying to steady herself. That's something about me that I've never told anyone before. Even now, my head is like screaming at me to stop. Wait, you don't have to force yourself. I mean, just because of the promise yesterday, I want to. It just feels right. I mean, maybe it's a part of the reason I came to this club in the first place. This is the literature club. I trust you more than I'm scared. Ah, ah, ah. Beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's bittersweet. At those words, Monica stands up. Sayori must have taken days to work up the courage for this. Were Monica's own futile but genuine efforts actually the push that Sayori needed? Sayori's deliberate breaths can be heard over the air conditioner. As she prepares herself to continue, Monica waits in gentle silence. Gentle silence. That's such a nice turn of phrase. I have this problem where I get really upset when people worry too much about me. I can't control it. It's like, why waste your energy worrying about me when you can just be happy instead? So I never tell anyone about these kinds of thoughts that I have. It's so much easier to just smile and help everyone else be happy. But that's terrible. That's what Monica wants to say, but she stops herself in fear of saying the wrong thing. It's just that if everyone knew about it, they wouldn't treat me the same anymore. Like whenever I'm not smiling, everyone would worry about me and ask me what's wrong. I know that because it used to be like that. Sayori pauses, seeming to recall something in the past. For someone like Sayori, I've talked about how trying to argue in favor of her strengths and qualities as we see them is unlikely to have much success because of the negative internal bias she already has. And because of this exact thing she's describing, which is when someone shows too much concern for her, it actually creates anxiety. And so it cannot be an externally validating thing. It has to be internal. And to start that process, I would be asking her what are called asset-focused questions, which is a way of asking questions which allows someone to arrive themselves at the discovery and recognition of the things that they do well, and which are markers of esteem that they have yet to consolidate for themselves because they discard them, minimize them, etc. For example, in a moment like this to reflect on. It took a lot for you, Sayori, to open up to Monica like that. What was it about her that you noticed that allowed you to do that? The hope here is that Sayori picks up on the hints at her own resourcefulness, perceptibility, and good judge of character. All of which are very good things to possess as a person. And she might be able to say, well, Monica's someone who also struggles with vulnerability, and she was able to open up to me. She has a strong personality, and despite that, she is very kind and soft with me. Then I want to try to consolidate that positive emotion for Sayori in a way that reflects on her own personality and her own resourcefulness. I don't want to say something like, so do you think that she was a good judge of character for seeing those things in you? Because Sayori might say no. She might say, no, she's wrong, I'm worthless, or whatever. Or just wait till she gets to know the real me, or I don't know, right? We might reject that. I'm just going to confirm Monica trusted you. That's simple. Like, it's actually way simpler because all there is to say is yes. I'm not leading her to make a judgment on whether that trust was deserved. The fact is, Monica did trust her. And when people self-affirm and there's a positive emotion associated with that, it does consolidate new learning about the self. Monica trusted me. Monica, this person I've just identified as like kind of a hard person to crack her shell, trusted me with vulnerability. Is there not inherent value in that? Another asset-focused question is to have someone make distinctions. She's already said, sometimes I want to die. Instead of engaging with that in a way that resurfaces the conflict, I'd ask her, on the days that you don't feel like that, what is it you typically have to do to make things more manageable and seeing life worth living? Again, we're leading her to discovery that prior to any additional work, There's something Sayori is already doing that makes life more manageable and worth living on certain days. And we don't want to take it for granted and say that it's just random. Some days I want to die and some days I don't. Like, there very likely are things that she's doing, even at a subconscious level, that make life more manageable, that make hope in herself and in other people, more accessible or whatever. And the fact that she has not done anything about this is another very key asset, which is to say that on the days where you do feel this way, what are the steps that you take to overcome this? Another very good asset-related question that works super well for things like self-harm, suicidal ideation, and substance use is, when was the first time you remember waiting before you self-harmed? Or when was the first time you remember waiting before using? Because this feels like an inherently unmanaged behavior for them. I don't know how to stop myself, but if there has ever been a time where even if they went through with it, even if they went through with the self-harm or whatever, if there was ever a moment where they waited beforehand, then there is an asset there. How did we summon the strength to do that? What was the conversation that we were having with ourselves? Because there is inherent strength in that. You have to be able to find that and help people discover it, rather than just focusing solely on responding to the aftermath. It's going to create a lot of shame. It's going to leave someone feeling like the solutions are all avoidant or suppressing, or things that require a lot of executive control over themselves when they're in a moment of lacking that. So on days where you decide not to act on these thoughts, what are the things that you're doing to overcome that? What are the thoughts that you're having? What things do you need to say to yourself? Because we're trying to find ways to operationalize that for the days where it's harder. And even on those days, if there was ever a time you waited, then there is inherent strength in that, even if you ended up going through with it. So these are the kinds of questions that would be really valuable for someone like Sayori, who is resistant to praise and resistant to strengths-based interpretation of her. We all see it. We love her. We think she's wonderful. She doesn't. You're going to have a hard time convincing her of that. They need to be self-discovered. And so you can lay out the breadcrumbs to have her walk through moments she's already experienced, but that she has overlooked some of these assets. Because in that process is inherently some development of esteem, some development of self-trust, and recognition that you do have more control than you might think. I just want everyone to be happy. It's the most important thing to me. And letting people look inside my head doesn't bring happiness to anyone. Oh, Sayori, we've looked through your head for dozens of hours now, and hundreds of thousands of people, just on this channel alone, but millions worldwide. Well, you've brought happiness to a lot of people. Sayori pauses again, her solemn expression making her look almost like an entirely different person. How did you find the courage to tell me this? Holy shit! That is the exact kind of question that I'm talking about. That is an asset-focused question. Monica just jumped the line to, like, S-tier character appreciation. That is such a good question to ask. You're doing exactly what I talked about, which is leading the person to a moment of discovery about some asset, some strength that they inherently possess, bypassing the shame and guilt of saying this really difficult thing out loud, and bypassing the self-critique that would come from saying, oh, you're so courageous. But how did you find the courage to tell me this? Let's see how she responds. Oh, this just changed everything. That's so great. You're not Worried that I'll be one of those people. Leave it, Monica. Well, she's not being a therapist right now. So I gotta give her some grace, but you shouldn't ask a question. Don't follow it up, because now she's gonna respond to this instead of the first thing. God damn it, I hate when I'm correct. I am worried. Part of me really hates myself for doing this. Shit, we were so close. I want to know what she would say to how did you find the courage? The second you added this, like, aren't you worried? You've reversed that into focus being on, yeah, the insecurity. But another part of me, I think, just felt like it would be different this time. Whenever we talk about what the club is supposed to mean, I keep feeling like it was right for me to do. She's saving us. She's saving it, because she's circling back. Especially after you've been trying so hard to express yourself, too. It just made me feel like I could say it in confidence. Our friendship doesn't have to change. She's right! There's so much fucking healing happening here. It's great. It's so silly. The club is only 2 people, but it already means this much to me. Ow. Monica feels a tightening sensation in her heart. A feeling of connection. Sayori's emotions radiate between them. I want to live in a world where Sayori's emotions always radiate. Me too. I was so lost until you showed up. You're so brave, Sayori. You're so strong and brave. I don't even compare. It's a nice sentiment. I have to remember that Monica's not a therapist here. She's not trying to sort of navigate the complex weaving of saying positive things about someone without saying them. This is okay. They're friends. I hope Sayori just accepts the compliment. Monica steps forward. But if nothing else, I can at least offer you some hug energy, if you'd like. What? I didn't know we were going to get unique cutscenes. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. Wordlessly, and without a smile, Sayori rests her forehead on Monica's shoulder. Through their contact, Monica can almost feel the torrent of thoughts swimming in Sayori's head. And in this moment, enchanted by the air of the club, Monica realizes that all of the days that have passed, this is the one where she really hopes that nobody new walks through the door. She speaks softly. You are like the sweetest girl I've ever met. You can say anything. I'll never judge you. My God, this makes the original game story so much worse. Because it's so sweet. I promise. Oh, poor Monica. She really went through a lot as well. Sayori's breath begins to quiver. She takes several deep breaths, trying as hard as she can to start speaking, to say the things she never once dared to say out loud. And she doesn't even need a stupid caveman boy to meddle with things right now. She just needs a good friend in Monica. We all need a Monica, I think. Finally, she speaks in a choked voice. I'm worthless. No. I'm worthless and everyone would be better off without me. She suppresses a sob as a tear falls down her cheek. I'm just an inconvenience to everyone. You've never been more incorrect about anything in your fucking life. I'm not good at anything, and it just feels like everyone just has to put up with me. I hate it. Hate it. The more Sayori speaks, the more she fails to control her voice, falling victim to the overwhelming sadness clutching at her throat and chest. I don't want to have these thoughts. I want them to go away. And now I'm making you put up with me, and I just want to die. As soon as Sayori loses her composure, Monica becomes determined to keep her own. She only wants to be what Sayori needs right now, so she won't let any sadness show. Her voice comes through soft and gentle. This isn't putting up with you. It's just being your friend. Monica offers a few words of comfort. But she knows, Sayori said it herself, that the thoughts Sayori experiences are ones that don't belong. And Monica can't magically make them go away. The most she can do is help Sayori battle them, like any good friend would do. You have so much value. To me, and your other friends too. This club wouldn't have been the same without you. I really mean that. You coming here was the best thing that could have happened. Even if we never got any other members, I'd still be happy. That's what you brought here. You brought us a vision. And you also brought happiness. And that's your favorite thing to do, right? Oh my goodness, it's so sweet. Please, Sayori, just this once. Be okay with what's being said to you. Sayori doesn't respond, but Monica feels her gently nod. No more words are needed between them. The two share their embrace for a while longer, Monica letting Sayori take as much time as she needs. Once her breathing steadies and her sniffles fully cease, Sayori lifts her head and wipes her eyes. Oh. And, you know, obviously I evangelize the benefits of therapy and everything, but, you know, there's also stuff that it can't provide. All the nice skills and dialogue and all of those things, I mean, you can be attuned to someone in that process, and that can be very healing, but there just are things like this that I think are even more powerful, which is really being accepted by someone that it has their own struggles as well, like Monica does. This kind of friendship, this kind of like true unconditional support, it's a very powerful thing. I think friendship is it's a bit underrated, to be honest, for its healing potential. I guess I needed that. Some days are harder than others. I think what it comes down to for me is therapy. It can feel a little bit like the general thesis is that all problems can be solved with deterministic individual change. Like that if you just work enough on yourself, and even the stuff that I'm talking about, like learning about your own assets, like I think that's a big part of it, but I think the relationships you have with other people and just being loved is like more important, to be honest. What's the sense of having inner stability if, you know, you don't have someone to share that with and for others to benefit from it? Some days are harder than others. Well, I'm here whenever you need me. But any other time, I'll make sure that things are the way they usually are. That's what makes you happy. Thanks. You're the best. No, you are. To exchange smiles. You know, I'm sorry to bring this up all of a sudden, but have you considered talking to a professional? I wonder what she's gonna say. Sayori nods. It's scary, since it's already so hard to tell people. Yeah, well, of course it will always be your choice, but if you're ever looking to find the courage for it, I can do my best to help you. Thanks. I think it helps knowing that you would. Sayori suddenly yawns and stretches. Wow, that made me tired. And hungry. Well, I won't make you do any work today if you're not up for it. No, I want to. I mean, I can say that it's definitely one thing that makes me happy. Monica smiles. But I might want to get a snack first. Beautiful. I like that this was included, you know, as miserable and somewhat cynical as the majority of the original game was. I don't think on the whole that it is. I think it had a pretty hopeful conclusion, you know, of undoing everything. And especially the second ending that we got. I like that this was put between the characters, that Yeah, it's always an option. But even as the professional myself, I think that what we're seeing here is just as important, if not more so, than a lot of the professional work you can do. They each provide something that the other can't. And I think ultimately, someone like Sayori would benefit from both. All of a sudden, the sound of the door causes the two of them to turn their heads. The door opens halfway, then stops. A face peeks inside. A face that seems familiar. Anime Brady! Oh, it'd be so fucking funny. It's most likely Yuri, though. Okay, folks. That's the episode. First side story complete. And boy, was it wonderful. This feels like the ultimate reward to how difficult it was to get through the main game, is just the realistic acknowledging of the same issues, but allowing for a more optimistic perspective about what these characters need. I just love it, and I can't wait to continue. As always, thank you for watching. Be good to yourselves, and I will see you next time.